Hey, it's Doug Mystic Eye here, and we are getting ready to start our playthrough, turn 1 of Darkest Night. The last thing that I had to do for setup, just to let you know, was I had to place the blights on the board. And do that, you draw one of the map cards and you place them based on the locations. For instance, the mountain's got a shroud, the castle got a skeleton, village got an evil presence, etc. And those have been placed on the board now, showing basically where those blights are. And I left them with the picture up so you can see the pictures, but when we go to play into that area, I'm going to flip them over. And we're going to do one turn probably, depending on how long they are, maybe two, and we're going to get right to it. So basically, if you recall, I showed you in the last video the turn rounds. Here it is. We're going to start with the hero turn, so any action. We're going to start, the Necromancer is not present with any characters at this time, and none of them are carrying a holy relic, so we're going to get that. We're also going to skip any events because we're all in the monastery at this point, and we're going to start with our first actions. So I think we'll just take it in order. So in player order, we're going to start with the Druid. Good. Now keep in mind, he's got 3 starting abilities: Visions, Animal Companion, and Camouflage. None of those are going to help him immediately, but we are going to move, and I think with the Druid, we're going to move him to probably the forest and start to see if we can get a search in. Now he has nothing that really helps him with that. We may move up to the mountains. So if we go up to the board and we look at here, we have the Unholy Aura in the forest, and that just basically lowers the fight dice by 1, but there's nothing there to fight. So if he gets there this turn and no blight appears there, in other words, the Necromancer doesn't move there, then it'll be helpful. Up in here we have a shroud, and what that does is it protects blights. So if there were other blights, they would be protected. So we're kind of safe either way. Again, I think we're going to take the Druid. Let's find his standee here, and we're going to. This is the Druid right here, so you can see. And we're going to move him to the forest. Now when he gets down, that is going to be the entirety of his move. Yeah, it's not a whole lot, but that's the way that it goes. Because that is his action. So that said, he's going to hang out there. He doesn't have to fight anything, so we're going to move on, and we're going to go to the Scholar. The Scholar really doesn't have anything he can do right now but move and get to someplace better. So we're gonna take that action for him. Now keeping in mind, when a character moves, he's not, the only way he starts losing secrecy is if he doesn't move or makes an attack on a blight or something. None of these guys have done any of that. So in moving, so far anyway, in moving it's not going to hurt. Now, oh, by the way, with the Druid, we need to flip the token over. So we're going to take the Scholar's turn. We're going to move up to the board. Here's the board. I think we're going to move him to the town. There's an evil presence there. It means they eluded one less, which does affect one of the abilities of the Scholar, the Foresight. But still, it will also affect most of the other characters as well. So we're going to move the Scholar in that direction. Let's find the Scholar's figure here. This is the Scholar. And he's going to move to the village, and that is going to end his turn. Now we're going to move on to the monk. Here we are with the monk. He's got some good abilities. One of his abilities is definitely enhances his search capabilities, and but he's also going to be able to help us in a fight if the need should arise. So the Necromancer, if we get a little unlucky, could move to the village or to the forest. So, there's only 3 locations to move. I think I'm going to take the monk across to the village and hang out with the Scholar. They might be able to complement each other. So this is the monk's figure, and he is going to move here with the Scholar. So that's going to end his action. Next up, we're going to do the Wayfarer. As I told you, these turns go rather quickly. They'll take a little longer when we actually have some action going on, but so far, so good. With the Wayfarer, as I said, this is going to be my first time playing with this character, so it's going to be rather interesting, but I do see, let me get the focus in here, I do see that he's got some abilities that might be able to help him. For instance, after he travels, which he's about to do, this From the Blue is going to activate, and it says deactivate before a fight to get +2, so once it's activated, I'll show you how that works. So basically, you know, so he can ignore Blight's effect for the rest of the turn, so that's pretty powerful. As he can take that Tither and Yacht as an action, but we're not going to do that yet, obviously. I think for him, and he is still at the Monastery, we are going to move him up to the mountains up here, which, since he traveled, we'll activate this From Beyond ability, and how we denote that. How we denote that is we take his action card here and we put it right here to show that that's an active card. That's one of the ways you can do it. You can do it any way you want. But that's the easiest way to do it. Now, we're going to come to the Necromancer's turn, but that's going to be a pretty simple turn too, because none of the characters lost or gained any secrecy, and they're all at 6 right now, except for him. He starts at 5. But anyway, there's not a lot of chance that the Necromancer is going to see any of them. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get the die out, and we're going to roll that for the Necromancer's movement, and we'll get to that right now. Okay, so starting the Necromancer's turn, the first thing that we have to do is we have to increase the blight from this spot to the 1 spot. Or not the blight, but the darkness track, rather. And that's going to mark the march of the Necromancer's power, the marshalling of his power against the heroes. And then we're going to roll the dice for the Necromancer. Necromancer's here in the... I almost wish I could lay these down. They'd probably look better so you could see what's going on. But that's the Necromancer's piece there. It looks... not getting in the camera there. It looks like that. Pretty cool. Anyway, we're going to roll the die. Roll a 3. So he's not going to spot anybody, and if you notice, there's on the board there. It's a little glary. Let me see if I can cover that up. Just turn the angle on it. There we go. You can see that there's movement tracks on the board. The 3 and a 5 takes him to the village. That doesn't mean he automatically sees the monk there. The monk's still pretty secretively hidden in the town, but that is going to put the Necromancer there, and as a result, we are going to draw and place another blight. So what we do is we go over to the map tiles here, we draw one, and we look at the village where the Necromancer is moved, and you see that we're going to place an unholy aura there. Now, I'm going to get that out and do that right now. Let's find the unholy aura. There it is. Okay. So basically this area is getting a little tough for our heroes already. There's already a -1 to fight there, and a -1 to elude. Just to show you the picture on the unholy aura, it's kind of neat. It's the symbol of a blood red backed sword, and right now we have 2 characters there and 2 blights, but we have some pretty skilled heroes, so they'll be able to help out and possibly take out the villain. Well, not the villain, but take out some of those blights, or perhaps even move further. But that's going to end turn 1. And I think since it's so short, we'll do turn 2 just to show you what happens when searches and assaults on blights go on, etc., etc. And we'll see how it goes. So we'll get back with turn 2 immediately. Our turn order right now, and just start with the Druid. He's down here in the forest. Now, because I'm going to put this someplace where I can immediately pan to it here and show you. Because we're not on the first turn, or they're not in the monastery anymore, we are going to have to start by, of course, when they get to the turn for that character, the monk and I think the scholar, is it? Yeah, the scholar will lose some secrecy because they're in the spot with the Necromancer, but the Druid will not quite yet lose any secrecy. So, again, what we have to do right now is turn the event card over. So, what we know with the Druid is the Necromancer is not present, and he doesn't have to fight him. So, we're going to come over here, and we're going to draw our first event card. Now, the Druid does have a special ability that might come in handy here called Visions, We can exhaust that after we draw an event card if we don't like it, to discard it without the effect. We'll see how bad this event card will be. So, what we drew is the Horde. You can see that compared to Secrecy, this is probably okay. I mean, basically he's got a 4+, if he has a 4+ Secrecy, which is currently 6, he's going to have to face a small Horde. He can either fight them with a 4 or evade them with a 3. In either case, he can do this with 2 dice. It's not really going to matter which one he does, and I think that what we'll do here is, and I'll show you his abilities. He's got 2 that can affect here. He can fight with his... I'm not going to use the card to get rid of the blight. That's not too bad at once. So we're just going to go with his abilities here. He's got an animal companion. He can fight with 2 dice, but he can exhaust it if he fails. Or he can try to elude with 2 dice. And I think we're going to do that. The elude piece on that is a 3, so it's going to be easier for him to elude the enemy there as opposed to fight them. And that's what he's going to do. Now keep in mind that that site also has this unholy aura in the site there, which causes -1 to fighting. So again, this makes the elude more attractive. We're going to roll some dice for him. Where did they go? You see them? Oh, there they are. Okay. Okay, well, he failed. Good way to start. What that means is, since this is a tactic card, and unlike his animal companion where he would have lost something, he just loses a grace. So we're going to push his grace down to 4, and that's going to basically end that event. So the Horde that he encountered, he got in a fight with them, took some damage, some creatures of darkness, and he tried to elude them and got hurt in the process as he made his way through the forest, where he will now he has 2 choices at this point. For his action, he can try and take out that blight there on a 4 or greater, or he can attempt to search. I think this turn we're going to search. The search difficulty here in the forest is a 4. If you get down really close, you can see that search difficulty there. Now he's only going to get 1 die. He doesn't have anything that can help him search, but if he does, he's going to get a treasure chest. So, well, we got some good news there. He did succeed in his search, so I'm going to get him a treasure chest, and we're going to take that out and put it on his map. His treasure chest. Now I'm trying to I believe that the right thing to do is just to get him another power card, but I want to look it up real quick, and we'll see. He might just burn that immediately if possible. Yes, we can discard this at any time during his turn, so we're going to do it immediately. Probably why there's only 1 in the box. I don't see why you would do anything other than draw a new power card immediately. Anyway, here's a power card deck. I did shuffle it up, but I think I'll just give it another little random bit of shuffling there. Let's see. There's only total, I think, of 10 powers for each character, which is more than enough in the game. But let's see what he gets. Wolf form, nice. Is an action. He can deactivate all forms. Optionally, he can activate, but it's an action, so he's already taken his action this turn. He can't do this now. But you can see when he does activate it, he gets +1 fight, +1 eluding, but he cannot gain any grace while in the form. So we're just going to place that along with his other powers, and we're going to move on to the Scholar. First, we'll flip his token, as we need to. Next up, we have the Scholar. Now, he's in a bit of a predicament. He's with the monk currently in the village, which is now occupied by the Necromancer. So, if we look at this, the turn order track here, it says at the start, if the Necromancer is present, we lose a secrecy. So, he is going to lose a secrecy, which is going to put him down to 5, and gives a very minor chance that the Necromancer will see him. Yeah, so then the next thing we have to do is we look to see if we have any start of turn instructions, and we don't, other than losing the secrecy for the Necromancer being present. So the next thing we're going to do is draw an event, and we're going to do that immediately. Here's the event cards. So he gets, well, this might not be, a guarded trove. There's stuff in them there hills. So basically, wow, it's kind of tough. A 6/6. Let's see. So he can lose once. If he wins, he loses a secrecy but draws a search result. If he fails in elude, he spends a secrecy or draws another event. This is kind of bad. And keep in mind that there's two blights there. There's a evil presence and an unholy aura. So in either case, he's going to take a -1 to either die, -1 die, to either elude or fight. He's got a couple things going on. He's got some good abilities. His find weakness will allow him to add a roll to the fight die. He can exhaust after we make a roll to re-roll it, or we can elude with 2 dice, which would of course get reduced to 1 dice. Really, he can't do anything but elude because he's only got 1 fight die. So we're going to try. We're going to try and elude. We're going to try and elude this guy here. We're going to have 1 die because of the blights that are there. And we can make that bonus, that roll, we can exhaust his preparation to roll if he fails. And he did fail on the first roll, he got a 4. So we're going to do that because we're going to try and keep him from getting unhealthy and drawing another event card, because that's what happens if he eludes and fails. So we're going to exhaust that to re-roll again. And hopefully we did not succeed. So far we haven't succeeded in any of our die rolls, which is typical of how I start a play session, just to give you the worst possible scenario. And as a result, when we fail and elude, it's going to cost him a secrecy, so he's down to 4, so increasing the chance that a Necromancer might see him there. And we also, because of the result of this event card, we failed to elude, so we spent 1 secrecy, or draw another event. I think we'll spend the secrecy. Another event could be very bad. I don't recall, but there aren't many, if any, really good events in there. And that will end the scholar's turn, and we'll move on to the monk. Okay, here we are with the monk. Monk is in the village as well with the Necromancer, so we're going to have to reduce his secrecy by 1 because of the presence of the Necromancer, which is noted here on the turn action table. Let's see, let's get that back where we can get it in focus. I'm going to have to put it down, sorry guys. Focus, there we go. So, again, we're going to lose that start of turn event. We're going to lose the secrecy for being in the same space as the Necromancer. We've done that. Well, actually, you know what? I made a mistake here. I did not actually take the Scholar's action. That was his event card. So, for his action, he's going to move. Now, this is a good thing. So we're going to move him out of there, and I think we're going to move him straight over to, if he moves over to the skeletons, he's going to have to fight them immediately. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm not actually showing the board. They're up at the castle. He can move here and deal with these shades. He'll have to fight them too, or he can move back to where the corruption is, which means he doesn't get any bonuses. I think he's not. He does have, the thing that adds 1, find weakness, which is a tactic. Gets to add 1 to roll. So I think, let's see which one's worse here. I'm going to flip these over and see. We got 4-4, 3-5. I think we're going to go to Les Swamp, and we're going to take the Scholar and move him over there. So we have the Scholar in the swamp with the sickle, or the candlestick. But no, just kidding. Okay, so we have to roll a fight with the Shades. Now remember, that's the Shades' ability, so he's not trying to kill the Blight right now. He's just trying to fight off the evil spirits that are there, which will not be his action. Moving was his action. So what we're going to do is he does have this ability here. He has to roll a 3 or better. He gets to add 1 to his die roll because we're obviously going to activate that. And he finally made a roll. Rolled a 4, which means he did do that. So he does not take any further damage from that. And in moving, he did not attack that blight. So in moving, he's going to gain a secrecy back. That's what happens when you move, because your traveling helps you elude the enemy. Anyway, that is the Scholar. So that was actually going to officially end the Scholar's turn, and there I flipped over his token, and now we will move on to the monk. Scenario with the monk, we already decreased his secrecy. He is in the area with the Necromancer. and we did that. So now he has to draw an event card as well. Let's go over to the event deck right here, see what he draws. He drew a ritual. Ritual. You may spend 1 grace and lose 1 secrecy to cancel this event. Count the blights in your location. There's 2. That's not good. If we don't cancel this, there will be a new blight there. So what do we do here? Let's see. I think we can afford a grace. We'll take 1 grace. I don't want to lower secrecy because I don't know if he's going to stay there or not with the Necromancer. We'll see. We might spread out, but he can do that, and we're going to then get rid of this event card. So we did what it said, and we took a secrecy to cancel this card. And now he gets to take his action. I think for his action, we're going to continue to move about. And I think in his case, he will go to where the skeletons are because he has quite a few fighting abilities that he can use to deal with the skeletons. And keep in mind, we're going to have to start taking out blights as well as searches. But what we're going to do is take the monk here. He's going to move up here. That's going to give him, that's not him, that's going to give him a secrecy point back, putting him up to his full 6. And then right here, you see that we have the skeletons there, and they're a 4/4. So what abilities do we want to use with the monk to take care of this? Well, we can get our chi bonus, but right now we have the tactics. We can fight with 3 dice. If the tracker, the darkness tracker is odd, which actually, as interesting as it may be, it is. It's on 1. So he's going to get 3 dice this turn without doing anything, and that's pretty good in this game. So he's going to need to roll a 4 or better in a fight, and if he fails, he will take damage, whether he fights or eludes. But I think we'll just start there. I don't think we need to do anything else. I'm not going to use the chi bonus. With clarity, we could add one to your highest die when searching, so that'll be effective for him when he does get a chance to search. But right now we're going to take 3 dice, and we're going to roll for the monk. Pretty good. He rolled a 4, so that's going to be just enough. He did, in fact, fight off these skeletons. Now it's his turn to act. I think what we're going to do, because we can't leave blights on the board, he could search, try and get up there a treasure chest or a cache, which allow him to draw 2 skills and pick one. But we can also stay there a turn and do that. Now, if he attacks the skeletons, he's going to lose a secrecy. So I think we're going to do that. We're going to drop down secrecy back down to 5. We're going to take our 3 dice, and we're going to fight the skeletons again. And this time, what we're trying to get, we're going to defeat this blight, which means we have to roll that. See that 5, that big green 5 in the corner? That's what we have to do to defeat the blight. We're going to do it using our fighting skills. And we succeeded. We rolled 1-5 with the monk, thus defeating this blight of skeletons and removing it from the board. And you think, what do I get for that? Well, there's not one on the board. And there is a point, I have to look it up, there's a point where so many blights hit the board you lose. So that was the monk's official turn, and he is done. Okay, now we move on to the Wayfarer, who is up in the mountains. Here's the Wayfarer. He does have an active ability. He can deactivate that before getting a rolling fight to add +2 dice. So that means he's going to do okay. He'll have 3 dice to roll. But he can also elude and ignore Blight's effects for the rest of the turn. So right now, he's up there. That ability protects Blights. It doesn't do much. So I think what he's going to do is just take a good old-fashioned search. Now, he can take a key or a chest. I'm not even on the right spot. There we go, key or a chest. If he succeeds, and he needs a 4. Now, he doesn't have any special skills or anything right now to help him search, so it's just going to be a die roll. He rolled a 2, so he failed in his search, and that's going to end his turn, which is going to end all of the player turns. I'm going to flip his token over. And now we're going to move over to the wonderful Necromancer's turn. Now, we did, in fact, all move away from the Necromancer, so he's going to have to get his ugly black dice roll and take a roll at that. He rolled a 5. So we're okay again. don't think anybody. Well, let me look. Hold on. We're going to look something up real quick, and I will be right back. What I wanted to check what that 5 was is I couldn't remember if it was lower than the secrecy of the players, or the player with the lowest secrecy compared to his dice roll, but it's lower than. So in other words, if they have lower than what he rolled, then he would spot them and move towards them. But as a result, he doesn't, and he's in the village, so he's going to move in the direction of 5, which is going to take him, he's basically chasing our poor scholar across the countryside. So he's going to move over to the swamp area, and we're going to draw and add a new blight to that location. So coming over here to the map deck, here we are at the map deck, we're going to draw 1 card, put that down there, and look at it, and basically look at the swamp. So some skeletons appear in the swamp. Not so good for our scholar. He now has Necromancer, a blight that he had to fight off the shades last turn, and now this coming turn he'll have to fight the skeletons as well. We shall see how this rolls out. The scholar is not necessarily our best fighter, but he's also not the worst. He's got some decent abilities. Could use some more, but as you can see, this is where we're ending up. So that now, and I forgot one more very important thing. We do have to advance the shadow track 1, or darkness track rather. So that is where we're going to end up for this turn. That's going to end it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed that, and we're going to head on to turn 3 next time. So thank you very much for watching. This game of Darkest Night should go pretty quickly. So far the characters are doing okay. I'm not doing so well on some of the die rolls, but we can fix that by just getting some luck on our side. So again, thank you for joining me for Darkest Night, and we'll be back soon.